Good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to the Midday Show brought to you by Echo Television International, and it's live. And you know, on the Midday, we tell you a lot of things about different countries, and today we have an interesting country we want to talk about. I have Tony Ghana in the studio with me. Good afternoon, Tony.
Good afternoon.
So we'll be talking about Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago can satisfy the sensating taste of every visitor, from a lover of nature, party lover, a foodie, and for those wanting to sit back, relax, and enjoy their vacation. However, Trinidad and Tobago is a country of little paradise, unknown to the outside world, especially for her allurement and fascinating beaches that is worth falling head over heels for. Trinidad and Tobago.
When I first heard of this Trinidad and Tobago, I used to see it to be different countries, like Trinidad on its own, Tobago on its own. Or better still, I feel maybe they are just neighboring countries, and that is why some people usually combine them to be the same Trinidad and Tobago. I never knew they are the same country. And then when I heard of Tobago, I was wondering, like, because the sound I heard, the pronunciation I heard was tobacco. So I was wondering, how can a country, how can people come about the name tobacco? Tobacco to me is more of like cigarettes now, right? So how would people just name a country after a cigarette or stuff like that? But then I got to understand that it's not actually the tobacco that we know of, but although it's Tobago. But then, do you know that it actually got its origination from that tobacco?
Yeah.
Like it's really that tobacco that we know of. That's where it got its origination from. And that's because of the fact that there is a large populace of what was it called? Cocoa.
Yeah.
They produce cocoa there a lot, and aside from that, the place is a very nice place. And some people see Tobago to be a place that if you go there, like you will be so marveled at the sight of things. There are beautiful oceans. Like it's a combination of two oceans anyways. That is Trinidad, and then they made the ocean Trinidad and then the ocean Tobago rather. They are
I think like this tobacco very well. I don't get.
That's been the impression given. So that's why I usually I've been mistaking tobacco to be Tobago. I mean Tobago to be tobacco. And then people see it to be a country that, you know, when you want to go there, you have to budget a lot of money, and though it's one of the richest country in the whole of Caribbean, but then it's a country that if really you want to go on a vacation, you can just budget and a small amount of money, and
not
then
small amount of money, plenty money.
No,
sir.
You are trying to scare people that have interest.
No, but you just really need to say it as it is. You can't just travel to Trinidad and Tobago and then just feel like you have small money. No, sir. This country, like the world in general, right now, there are things happening that you can't sugarcoat all these things. Let's just say it as it is.
Okay.
In as much as Trinidad and Tobago is the wealthiest country in the Caribbean, like one of it though, but
my dear viewers, if you want to go to Trinidad and Tobago, please, with a little more amount of money, believe me, you are ready to go. You are good to go.
Safe flights, Tony, because I don't think the thing is you just really need to say all these things, because you know, like now flights to just like an hour
even within the country itself,
they're not to talk of leaving the country entirely. So like it's expensive.
One have to budget a lot of money.
Trinidad and Tobago is actually known for its oil and gas. And then just imagine a country that is known for oil and gas.
You know that it's going to be expensive.
Sir, so what are you trying to tell me?
I'm just trying to sweet talk it now.
This is part of their economy, and this is part of income to them. So like you can't just say you're traveling to Trinidad and you don't have a budget for it. Like the thing is, even if you have little, you can't just go there and sit down doing nothing.
You can't even have a little and then traveling all the way from here.
So why not say it the way it is, sir? Say it the way it is.
Let us make people know that probably interest the minds of people to go into Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago is actually a beautiful country.
It is. Just from your opening, you said is a paradise known to the wide world. So to tell you that,
you know what it means for you to travel to Trinidad.
It's a very beautiful place.
It's very beautiful.
And aside from the two major oceans, which are the Trinidad and Tobago, there are other several oceans in that country. But then the major oceans there, the Trinidad and Tobago, which is the reason why the country was being named after the two oceans, because of the fact that those are the major oceans in the country. And then the emergence of that, or the origination of that name Trinidad, was gotten from Christopher Columbus. And I think he did that because of the fact that there are several oceans there, quite all right. But then he categorized Trinidad and Tobago to two oceans, to be two oceans, and then the other small oceans to be the third oceans, to be the third ocean. And then decided to call them Trinity, that is three oceans, that is Trinidad and Tobago to be two, and then the others to be categorized to be one, and then three, decided to make them three Trinity, to call Trinity actually.
Trinidad and Tobago is actually an interesting country to visit. It's a beautiful
and
place.
they are very accommodating. They are very friendly. They have, like, in fact, their way of accommodation there is just something else. By the time you get there, you don't have to necessarily start making friends. They can themselves start walking up to you and like, hello, are you new here? Like stuff like that. What country are you from? What are you here for? And all of that. And Trinidad is a country that is majorly being built on issue of, say, business. Like if you want to build on business, if you want to establish a business, like its main focus is business oriented. But then Tobago, that's where you see places like tourist attraction sites. You see places like beaches and oceans and all of that. There's, I mean, that of Tobago is more of like tourist attraction, and then the issue, probably you want to go on vacation, you want to go on sightseeing, you want to go on picnic, you want to go on so many things. As far as vacation is concerned, Tobago is just the place for it. But in terms of business, business establishment and all of that, that's where you find Trinidad. So
more like if you want to go to Trinidad if you want to travel for maybe business, then you should go to Trinidad.
Yes.
But then if you want to travel for just fun,
just go to Tobago.
So
they have two cities anyways.
It's interesting to know. So now I have plans on going on.
Oh, you are going to, because me, I don't have plans on going.
I said I have. I didn't say we have.
Okay,
and I am not taking you along.
I don't even want to go.
Thank you very much. So I just want to go and have fun. And that is why we are talking about Trinidad and Tobago today, because they have a lot of cultures that they actually work with, and they have this different kind of dance that they do over there, and the music and all of that. For you to know that if you want to do this in Tobago, then you should know that you're choosing Tobago, because you want to have fun, you want to tour around, you want to go hiking. I heard there's a place that you can go for hiking where you just like there's a waterfall beside it, and then it's a beautiful sight to behold. And then the colors, the Diwali, that is one of their culture that they actually celebrate. It's more like the display of colors. So it's like showing how beautiful colors are. So like they value colors more. Like when you want to tell somebody, once you want to show someone you love him or you guys are friends, like the use of those colors is one thing they use. That is why it's one of their culture. When
you talk about Diwali, you're talking about India. And India
yes,
they like color a lot.
Of course, when you're talking about colors. So then that is why you're talking about Tobago. So then Trinidad is actually another part in which if you want to develop something, let's say for instance, you want to do a business, and you're thinking of how to start it or who to meet and all of that. Once you find yourself in Trinidad, you are home.
Of course you are.
And then you are safe as well, because you cannot just go and start up business with someone that is going to lead you astray or maybe fraud and all of that, or scam you. But then they are actually sincere people. That's another special thing. They are actually sincere when it comes to business, because they know that if they should do this to someone, like maybe let's say a tourist, or someone that wants to do business that comes there,
they
and
are business driven, like entirely.
Once they have this thing that it can come back to them. So once they treat you bad, or once they do this business to them and then it fails, or if they should cheat you in a particular business, it's going to come back to them, because they know that they might. It's going to affect their own economy. Maybe when they find themselves somewhere else, maybe another different country to do a business, it's more like karma. So they believe in karma so much. So then if you as an individual want to do business, or you're thinking of doing something and you're scared of maybe being scammed and all of that, once you find yourself in Trinidad, you're actually safe. You're good to go to do your business. But if it is the fun part,
just go to Tobago. That's even if at all I would want to take my travel into consideration, maybe it will have to be Tobago. Just for the fun
again,
part. Just for the fun part. Though I'm not, not that I've made up my mind, I'm still thinking. I'm still trying to consider my going.
Okay.
Probably.
Anyways, the island of Trinidad and Tobago, it gives twice as many reasons to visit, because it says it's a safe country. During my research, I just learned that Trinidad is actually safe and they are friendly, and it shows that if you want to do anything, you're free to go there, and you cannot have a reason. They said it's actually a birthplace of birds, and they have almost 400
about 400,000 species
wow.
of birds.
Like, just imagine, like, birds, and then just
like
imagine you
different
having
types,
birds.
different kinds, different sizes and all. Like, it's going to be a beautiful thing.
And to talk about saying there's sea over there, like, you can actually stand in the middle.
Wow.
When I heard that part, like, you can swim in the middle, like, there's a part where you can just stand because there's
sand on the bottom,
at the bottom and all of that. But then when I was there doing my
research, one has to be very careful.
One has to be very careful, you know,
so that you don't just go and land yourself into where you cannot really swim.
I can't even go there. That's the truth. Because
no, the thing is, I believe there will be people that will be safeguarding that place so that you not just find yourself in the wrong place.
It's actually fun for you to find yourself there to want to do something for fun. You understand? But then the thing is,
be very careful.
Be careful so you don't drown. Because before they will come to help you, what happens to you then?
So you are probably gone before they even realize that someone is drowning.
That's the problem.
There. So one just have to be very careful. Even when you want to go into the ocean, like on the normal ocean or the smaller ones, one have to be careful because you don't know where is deep and where is not deep. So one have to be very careful.
And you know there are
deep water is not just something that you can see where is deep and where is not deep.
It's not possible. It's not possible.
You just have to be careful. People like me, I can't enter a water when I'm not really guaranteed of where is deep and where is not deep.
I can just sit beside it and that's all. That's how fun.
That's your fun.
Yes.
That's your fun.
I will have fun very well beside that part. Yes, I'll have fun.
Like you're not entering the water?
No, sir.
Then what's the essence of you going
sit beside? My leg will be touching the water.
Why won't you enter inside?
No way. Please, my life matters. In case if there's no one to help me, no, please.
No, there are people around that will help you now. Like all of those beaches, I feel there are some people that like their business, their work there is just to look after those that come there for fun or probably to swim and all of that. So just in case any casualty happens, they will just rescue or find a way of rescuing the person. So definitely there should be people around that their major work is just to look after visitors.
Okay.
So you are safe. I not discourage those that want to go and swim.
No, I'm just saying for myself. Okay. I'm not saying for any other person.
So please, my dear viewers, if you want to go to Tobago, please swim if you can.
Okay, thank you for the advice. We have heard you and we adhere to it. Anyways, it's interesting to know that Trinidad is actually a beautiful place for you to visit. It's actually a place for you to go and explore a lot of things. In case you're planning on visiting Trinidad, just make sure that you are ready. Make sure that you have your money, because anything you're going to do is
the kind of life
make you spend money.
The kind of entertainment. Do you understand? Do you know they celebrate Carnival every year in that country?
What do you expect? It's just like a place where you know that you're going to have fun. Like
if you are the party freak, party type, come on, you are good to go. You're just good to go.
So you're just saying
it's like I'm going. It's like I'm going to this Trinidad.
Yeah, of course you're going. There are facts about Trinidad and Tobago, and one of the facts that I got to know is that it's the birthplace of steel pan. So when I just heard that, I was like, wow, that's interesting, because the way they love music, the way they love to dance.
But do you know what that steel pan is made up of?
I don't know.
Empty drums. So this normal empty barrels.
Wow, are you serious? Wow.
It's actually that origination of steel pan, that steel pan rather, is dated to during their slavery, that slave time, because some of the Africans that they enslaved then, because of the love for music that we Africans have now, they derived the method of finding sticks and then drumming or beating the drums or probably the barons that was close to them. So it was after the abolition of trade was when they decided to let's invent or beautify or modernize these drums so that you can make use of it, and it can be our own thing that we have been identified identified with or something that we are known for. It's a very beautiful thing that when you start beating that drums for you, you'll be wondering if it is actually normal drums that they are beating for you, because the music or the sound that you get from that beating, it's out of this world. Like even these normal set drums and stuff that you see around, I don't think they can give you that kind of feeling you get when that steel band stuff is being
then if you're not in love of music, then
you can't just be there fun. Because they even go on competition with that steel pan. Yeah, they go on competition during their normal festive periods. They have time for, like, they have places that they are set aside for like maybe normal evening outings that they have steel pan sections for, that you just see people being like around them, and it's not a matter of say 2 or 3 steel pans. So like it can be as much as 10 of them. You can have beaters of about 10, 20, 15, and that's the combination of a female and a male just beating in accordance to the beat, and like everything is just making sense and you'll be enjoying it.
Everything makes sense in Trinidad and Tobago, because like, okay, I think they have rules, they have things that you're not supposed to do.
They have so many, they have funny rules anyways.
Funny rules. Maybe you tell us one of the rules.
One of the rules is that you can't wash a car in the public. Like, does that sound?
So they don't have car wash, like all these places where you can just go and wash your car.
Maybe they have places that are set aside for the washing of vehicles and all of that. But say publicly, maybe you own your own personal car and you want to like wash it, it's prohibited.
Wow.
And again, you can't be seen as a kid naked on the street,
and you can't get drunk in the street.
And you can't get drunk on the street.
Yeah, that part actually got me thinking, because like these days there are people that can just go out. Maybe they just go out for fun, maybe birthday parties.
Then because of that,
and then you just end up, and then you get drunk and you just start misbehaving.
Believe me,
you see, I think there was something.
You'll be charged a fine immediately when you're.
So for me, that is very good. For me, that is acceptable.
Yeah, because it reduces the act of drunkenness.
Do you get? True. And then even reduces the act of maybe accident scenes and all of that, because it can actually cause you to fight with someone. For instance, now you're drunk and you don't know what's happening. Someone is passing, maybe the person didn't even say anything to you. Then you start talking to the person or starting. So do you get? Like with one kind of authoritative voice like that. Do you get? So like that is actually good. Like to know that there are things you should do in Trinidad. There are things you should not even think of. Do not even talk of you doing them. So then it's good to know that there are all these countries that actually have their own rules and regulations.
And another thing is you can't dry your clothes outside.
Wow. And no begging.
No begging. Can you imagine?
That's very interesting.
To me, that's the most interesting self.
That's very interesting, because, for instance, now you're just passing. Do you know how? I'm not saying it's bad for you to help people, but it's annoying.
Aside from annoyance, it's downgrading of a state or country.
It's you that see. Do you get? True. But then people see it as a source of income to them.
No, true. I've heard of stories of beggars that have built houses, bought cars, and all of that. But then it's not just. It's not a business. It's not a profession for me.
There are beggars that are being sent by their masters for them to just go and beg. Like all these little children that you just see them on the street begging you. And you know one funny thing about these children that beg you? What they do is they actually force you into giving them money. They don't just beg you. Once you start begging, they realize you're ignoring it. They will start pulling your hand or your clothes.
But they'll start following you.
Yes, or they start following you.
Which is very embarrassing.
It happened to me sometime like that. That one was. I told her, okay, you're following me. I know what to do with you. Then she ran away. She was scared. It's annoying for you to know that you see all these things. Like it's downgrading to
It's uncalled for. Like it's just too much. Because it's too much. You can't just go out. Legs. You can't just go out on a normal day without not seeing 1 or 2 beggars asking you for money
or all of. If you're handicapped and all of that, there are people
what I tell them is the way you are hungry is the same way I'm hungry. Just our level of hunger is different.
So it's good to know that Trinidad and Tobago actually have this rule.
Like it's free. Like their street is cleaned up. You don't see beggars. It's not even being littered with pure water, sachet, and all of those things. Like it's just too clean. to be sighted.
It's a clean country.
Yeah,
and then just see the beaches, just see where you can just sit down to have fun and all of that. Like, it's interesting. It's very interesting for you to know that once you find yourself in Trinidad or even in Tobago, you will just have fun all the way. If you want to be serious minded, like all about business, then find yourself in Trinidad.
You cannot just be business minded all the time. Now sometimes you need to rest your head. You need to enjoy yourself and stuff like that too.
Yeah. So another fact about Trinidad and Tobago
is home of carnival. Is a home of carnival. Just like
why are you so excited trying to say home of carnival?
I'm this kind of a fun person now. Like
I've seen me that is not fun now.
You're asking me why it's fun for me, and I'm telling you the reason. So why are you trying to take it personal?
Sorry, sir.
So to me, I'm this kind of a fun person in the sense that any place that things are happening, I love to be there. And for the fact that Trinidad and Tobago is a place of, or is a home of carnival, believe me, I think I have come to a conclusion that I will be going there with you. Wow. If not for anything, because of the fact that it's a home of carnival. And then they call this their carnival, or the name they ascribe to it is the greatest show of earth, or on earth rather.
Okay, the greatest show on earth.
Yeah, that is all form of cultures, depiction. I mean, all form of cultures, cultural, all forms of cultural things are being depicted in their dancings, in their way of music, their beatings of drums. Like they are a combination of cultures. They're talking about Africa, talking about France, talking about India. Like they are a combination of all of this there. I'm talking about Africa. You're talking about Nigeria. You can talk about Ghana. Like combination of so many countries doing their own thing differently. And from my own research, there are stages to this carnival. In the sense that the first stage, I think, the first stage is for children.
Okay.
Children between the ages of, I think, 15 to 19. This first stage, the whole street is going to be covered up with children doing their own childish play and all of that all through that day. And then after their own day comes in the adult own. Then they have their own street carnival stuff. Sometimes they can choose to do it in an open place. They can choose to find a theater and organize a competition. Like there are so many things that they do in that carnival. It's a lot of sacrifices in order to remember their old traditions, especially Africa. We are usually being identified with a lot of sacrifices. So sometimes they do some of these things in order to make to remember their old traditions and all. And there's a link of some of these traditions to Oyo Empire. Okay. Some of these Yoruba traditions and
yeah, no wonder you said something like that earlier. You said they speak Yoruba too.
Yeah, something like because there's no way you depict a culture of a particular tribe that there will not be spoken, or they will not be speaking that particular language. So definitely they sometimes speak Yoruba. Like some part of them actually speak Yoruba.
Some of the
but then it's not an African country.
Of course, it's not, sir.
So people will not start thinking that since they speak Yoruba there, it might be
okay,
an African
of course,
country.
yeah. To think there are Africans there. So what do you expect? Of course, there are people that will be there, like
Africans. I think Africans dominate Trinidad and
Tobago.
Yes.
So of course, not like it's really an African country, but at least we have Africans that are there and all of that. When you were talking about something interesting about them, they have a lot of facts about them. And there's another one that is talking about swimming at night. So one of the best things for you to do
is scary.
Is for you to swim at night, and then you realize when you come out, your skin will be glowing.
Imagine swimming at night, and then just from nowhere, someone is inside the water with you.
Why are you trying to scare people?
I'm not saying it's more of like an imagination. Just imagine.
See what you're imagining, I mean. They said it's the best thing for you to do at night. There are people that would like me. I would like to just sit beside the pool at night. Like it's just so it's something that you want. Like there's this peace that comes with it. And that's what they say swimming. They said swimming is actually an exercise as well. So then when you find yourself, you can maybe, let's say you don't have time in the afternoon or in the mornings, at least in the evening. They said it's the best thing to do at night. So they're not even telling you for you to go to the club.
And we should not be
or for you to go and do something
scared
else.
Because of the fact that maybe it's going to be dark all through. There are lights all over, so you shouldn't be scared. It's just going to be like a normal daytime for you. Just that there will be reduction of people that are patronized.
It's not everyone that wants to go at night. So then it's not everyone that wants to go swimming at night. There are people that just want to stay at home and sleep or watch movies or just do anything they want to do for fun at home. But then they said if there's anything you want to do at night, they're not even telling you to go for parties or to go and do something.
It's more like you having your quiet time.
Good. So they're just telling you that you can just swim at night and then just have fun. So another thing again said is home to the world's largest roundabout.
Wow.
And that roundabout
it's very huge. When I saw the picture, it's very huge and
it's beautiful.
It's very beautiful.
And there are trees. It's more like, you know, when you talk about the safety matters. Because, you know, there are places where you cannot even have space for
normal roundabouts we see is just like
do you get? And then it's not enough for you to just like then normal people.
Having seen a roundabout that is that is up to 260 acres of land, you should know that
just know how big. That is. So then he said it's the world's largest. Like wow, that's
I'm wondering why would they build a roundabout
like
as big as that? Why?
Maybe they're just thinking about the safety of the people. You never can tell. The safety of people matters because, you know, like all these roundabouts, like all these big cars that can just that will be passing, like they don't really have space to turn well, and then they will end up maybe falling or maybe hitting someone. I know there are a lot of things happening these days with all these our normal roundabouts in different places that it's not really safe. So that's the idea.
It's possible that the origination of that roundabout could be a mere coincidence.
True.
Maybe it's not really what they actually planned for, but just for the nature of how the place is, it eventually became a roundabout.
Anyway, they said it's a very beautiful roundabout for people to see. They said people can even just go and stand there. You can just go there because you want to snap pictures or you want to just do something for yourself or all of that. It's just the safety matters because for you to have a government that will actually take your safety, that will feel this is what they want to do for you or they're protecting you and all of that is an interesting thing to know.
But the government that thinks of the people first before any other thing is a place that you would have to be to because as far as the government is concerned, the safety of the people is their own number one priority and is one of the things that they see to be the most important thing. So if the government cares about your safety, then I think you are good to go. You don't have any other thing to care about, probably to be worried about.
Talking about, I heard Trinidad and Tobago, they have a number of slaves there. And then they said they have, yes, and then they said they normally have a particular day, like
holiday set
aside for just them. So now they're free to just go anywhere, to just go and have fun, to just dance, listen to music,
it is even because of the emancipation of that slave trade.
Yeah.
That was what even brought them to that Trinidad and Tobago. Because
and you know,
the slaves there then, I think they were workers for one plantation in some of the nearby countries like India, France, and all of that. So when they were being released, the majority of them came and settled in Trinidad and Tobago, and that's why the number of blacks are much in populace than the normal white people and all.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
And so definitely they just have to celebrate that day because it's a big day for them. It's a day of freedom for them, so they have to really celebrate it.
Yeah, they said it's actually a joyful parade in the streets where they meet and then they just go, like it's more like they walk around and just celebrate and do. It's something interesting for you to know. You as a slave, you are a slave. So it's more like you're not entitled to anything. You can't just do anything.
Maybe you were a slave and then at long last you are being free.
You're being free, like to just do your own thing. Like,
do you know what it feels like?
So like I can
just like you're being in a prison for even 1 week, and then as long as you're being released, it's like the fun, the excitement for you is going to be something else. So that's how it feels like. You talk of someone that have been enslaved for how many years, taken away from their loved ones for how many years, and then eventually you are being saved. I'm sorry, you're being released. It's going to be a thing of joy. It's a day of which people are supposed to remember.
Actually, so that's is something that the people in Trinidad know and they actually celebrate that. So like they always wait for that day to come. It happens yearly.
Yeah, so every 1st of August.
So they always wait for that because they just want to do their own thing. It's good for you to know that when you're being caged or when you have, just imagine when you're in pain and then the pain is no longer there. Like the joy you feel when you have that freedom of not having that pain again. It's more like, it's just how it is for the slaves there. That's when they, because you as a slave, you cannot do anything in your own accord. Like, you can just always do what they ask you to do, and they will never treat you well. But when they give you a particular day for you to do anything you want to do, it's something for you to be excited about, because you meet with other slaves now together. They can even make friends with them. You can even discuss a lot of things with them. And then when you're done, I think if I, God forbid, if I'm man about this, when I will just run away, because I can't. I don't know, but at least, you know, being a slave is not an easy thing.
You know, you can't even run away, because there will be tight surveillance on you.
That's true.
You can't run away. And when this celebration of the carnival starts, there's a place called Omawale Village in Trinidad that they usually open.
So you just called the name.
Omawale means Omawale, that is child being at home, or the child is at home, or is coming back home, something like that. So I think that's the reason why they usually open their celebration there, because of the fact that it's more of like coming back home, like them coming back home. And I think that's a village in Trinidad, or probably around Trinidad, that they open the ceremony whenever they want to start the remembrance of their emancipation day or stuff like that. So that's why I said there's every tendency of them speaking, or some persons speaking Yoruba there.
Trinidad and
so for Yoruba people, you can go there and, you know,
so why are you trying to just talk about your particular place? Please, thank you, viewers. Like, we've been talking about things and facts about Trinidad and Tobago, but we'll just take a time out. When we come back, we'll tell you more about Trinidad and Tobago. Stay with us. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you for staying with us. Trinidad and Tobago is a beautiful country, is a safe country. It's a place where you want to go and do business. It's a place where you want to go and have fun. We're talking about some things about Trinidad, and right now we'll tell you about their food, like what they eat and why they look so beautiful and how they live their life. I still have Tony Ghana in the studio with me.
Thank you for having me back.
Welcome back.
I was thinking maybe you would try to chase me, but since I
can't chase you, that's not the problem.
Since you said I shouldn't talk about Yoruba people, maybe you would want to chase me.
A pork bits marinated in cumin and assorted spices. When I talk about pork, you know, then I don't like pork.
So like, many people don't even like pork.
But it got
I've been a lover of pork right from birth.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I've been a lover of pork.
I never did, but this is one of the meal in Trinidad. They said the dish originated from Trinidad's Indian community. They said, but in time has slowly infused other local ingredients in its signature spice mix. It's more like they always use it's something that they always want to eat. They don't really have time for other things that they'll feel, okay, they're not going to eat this or they're not going to eat that. You know, there are people that will choose, okay, I want this, I don't want that. But they take their time to prepare this thing.
You know, we Africans, we naturally like meat.
Yeah.
And there's no way an African will cook without nothing. It's either there will be fish or there will be meat. But I think preferably is meat.
Of course, now I can't eat without meat.
Or you can't even eat without meat.
Once I'm eating without meat, but I'm very lazy eating that food. It never worries me. So this is the most popular options for bar and food for people in the bar. Like, that is what they used to cook. Then when you go there, in case if you don't want it, you can tell them you don't want the pork, but then you will still eat it. And then they feel pork does not harm anyone.
No, not at all.
So when you just tell them you don't want this or you don't want that, you have a choice of taking what you want to. But then this is one of their popular meal. Cooking, like that pork part is now that I like pork, when I find myself in Trinidad and Tobago, God, I don't think
you so abuse the eating
to the extent that I'll never want it anymore. Like when
pork easily like when you eat it too much, like it begins to irritate you.
Have you ever eaten
pork to that extent?
No.
I have.
Wow.
To tell you that I really eat pork.
But you still like it?
I still like it, because after some time you start liking it again. Wow. But in that particular time, especially when you eat much of it, you start like it begins to irritate you because of that oil part and all of that.
Yeah. Okay.
Then another dish or another food we have is aloe pies. It's another popular appetizer that doubles as a late night snack. It's more of like a snack in the sense that you don't have to necessarily go much of, do a lot of stress before like preparing these, and it's usually being blended like a fried samosa with a traditional English hot pie. It's more of like normal samosa that we see on or probably in our environs or stuff.
Not even in your house now.
No, I don't do samosa in my house.
Sorry.
So this one is more of like traditional. It's traditionally being prepared, and then inside the samosa, that is when they put these aloe pies inside. Just like when you put fish, carrots, green bean. I don't know if I don't. Do you guys put green beans and preparing? I don't know.
I don't know.
So that is how it's being prepared. And when eating before a meal, aloe pies tend to be smaller and eaten plain. However, the version sold outside bars usually includes an additional filling such as chickpea stew. Before serving, these rich and wholesome pies are topped with the traditional area of chutneys and hot sauce and served piping hot. That is, whenever you eat it, it has to be hot for you to really enjoy it. You know, all this fry stuff, it's usually being enjoyable when it's hot, not when it is cold. Like when you eat cold akara, you're not going to really have that feeling of when you are eating akara like that unless it is hot. So the same thing goes along with aloe pies. It has to be hot served, and it's usually being eaten late in the night, especially when you are bored, or maybe not because of the fact that you want to really, not because of the fact that you are hungry, but because of the fact that you just want to eat something. That's why they refer to it as an appetizer. It doesn't have to be when you are really hungry, but then just when you feel like eating something, maybe you are watching a movie, you are relaxing, or maybe just probably some menial works in the night, and then just want to fill up your tummy. People like me, I like doing such a lot. So when I sleep is not really coming.
Yeah, do you sleep? That is aside. There's another meal we have.
Very personal talk.
Black pudding, and then it said is people have different ways in doing this thing. That in Trinidad, black pudding is a classic cutter. It's usually advertised right next to gira pork and sauce. So it's traditionally boiled before being lightly served. They said the sausage is spicy and mixed with the island's main herb trilogy. And then like when you make this, is something that you want to have, whether in the night, morning, afternoon, anytime you want to have it, because they said it's mainly served with pork.
With pork again.
Pork comes in again. So it's very interesting to know that even if you're having this black pudding, you still have something to go with it. And then the pork is like well spiced. So then you have the pudding to go with it. Like more like when you eat this, you push this down with it and all of that. And then they actually love doing that a lot. And they love to serve people. Even if you're a visitor, you can't say you can't eat it. Because when you have the taste of it, you want to have it again. You want to eat it again and again and again. So it's very interesting to know that their meals is not like it's something for you to feel it's not going to be good for your stomach, or it's going to affect you later or something like that. So it's interesting to know that everything you eat in Trinidad and Tobago is good for you, even if it's not good for maybe let's say because you're just coming, you're not used to all these things. But then with time, you get used to all these things, and then it will happen that you even start advertising to other people.
Anything that is salty and like the spices are complete. Why would I eat? Why would I even enjoy it? I would definitely enjoy it.
Alonga.
Before uncle. Another food is doubles. It's being called doubles because of the fact that it is considered to be an official dish of Trinidad and Tobago. Doubles dates back only to the mid-20th century. However, they were based on two existing staples of South Trinidad's Indian diaspora, a curried chickpea stew known as chana and bara. That is, it is a fluffy fried flat bread. It's more of like normal baked bread, though this one is flat. And then I think the reason why this is being called double is because of the person that first cooked it, which is Emadoldin. He began serving his signature chana using round disc of para as a plate. word spread, and then soon customers began to ask him to double it. That is to double that bara, and that's where the name emanated from. That is that flat bread, more of like cake.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that people were enjoying it to some extent, to large extent, they suggested that it should double that flat bread so that it's going to be so sufficient for them to eat in enough and all of that. And you know, for someone, or probably for a customer who is giving you a suggestion of how something is supposed to be made, you should know that that's going to be very interesting. Probably it's a very sweet thing that people really want to eat more of it, and then suggesting that you know prepare more of it and all of that. So it's something that one have to taste.
Food, tourist sites, facts about Trinidad and Tobago. At least they are educated.
No, education there is compulsory.
Of course.
It's a compulsion.
When you talk about education, you know that you have to go to school.
But there is one food that you are omitting. I don't want to omit that.
Okay, maybe you tell us about
the food. They said corn soup.
Okay, maybe you should tell us about corn soup.
That corn soup is more of like, you know, no corn is usually like a bunch, like it's just like a bunch, you know. And then for them, they will have to cut it into pieces. Not that you have to remove the piece of the corn, but they will cut the corn. And then there are some spices that they are going to add. Just going to be like it's going to be like a watery thing. But then there will be inclusions of carrots, what was this yam? This I don't know what this yam is called, but it's actually a yam.
Okay.
Then there will be some slices of yam inside of the soup, and then when it's done, it's going to be served inside of a cup for you.
Why?
That's how it is.
That's how it's being served.
That is how it's being served. Yeah, it's being served inside of a cup. And then when you eat, when I was watching this video clip, how it's
no wonder you want to talk about it. Okay.
I was
like you found yourself eating it already.
Like, aside from the fact that there will be inclusion of carrot and cocoyam, that's what I wanted to remember.
Okay,
cocoyam. Okay. Aside from the inclusion of carrot and cocoyam, they will still put meat.
Again, no.
See.
And like they cut this corn.
How do you feel when you probably after eating pepper soup, then you start drinking the water?
I don't.
That's the feeling, you know. There's the way you enjoy pepper soup that you start drinking the soup.
No, true.
So that's the feeling for them too when you take this cocoyam soup.
Yeah.
But it's just being served in the cup, hot.
Especially so you just eat it like that without anything to do.
Yes, without anything, like, and you enjoying every bit of it. Even if I'm supposed to, or I'm being opportune to traveling to Tobago, definitely I would. I think I will have to come back with a lot of this corn soup.
So you come back with it. No, learn
because I know I like corn a lot.
Oh,
be it fried, let's say fried, be it roasted or boiled.
Maybe you'd have just said that's your best, not tell me I omitted it. Anyways, we're talking about
omitted it, of course.
A lot of, you like food, you see, and later you tell me it's me that I like food. Now you just want to talk about food. Talking about all that has to do with Trinidad and Tobago, it's interesting to know that it's actually a place for one to visit, and a place for you not to even have a second thought. Like, you don't even have to have second thoughts about visiting Trinidad and Tobago, because whatever it is you're looking for, be it business, be it fun, anything you want, Trinidad and Tobago is just there for you. So then when we're talking about education is compulsory.
Of course it is.
Compulsory for them. They said at the age of 5 to 15 you have to go to school. You have to go and learn, and it's free and it's compulsory. Because it's free, that's why it's compulsory. Because now they cannot be wasting their money to be doing all these things for them to train all these children, and then you'll end up not going to school. Education is key no matter what.
Yeah, it is. Everywhere in the world, education is absolutely
you'll be able to communicate. Key. It's not everything you're going to learn maybe at home. There are places where you realize that parents don't take their children to school because they feel like they're not supposed to, like, okay, you want to homeschool them. I'm not saying it's wrong to homeschool your children, but some
people homeschool children for the fear of what the society can.
I understand, but there are things that your child needs to learn. If your child doesn't experience,
even outside your house,
even outside your house, because there are things that your child will need to learn. It's not just everything that.
Because I believe it's not everything as a parent that you can teach your child.
So, like,
there are some certain experiences that your child have to pass through, like, or probably to get involved in for he or she to really learn better.
Sure.
Sometimes, and that's why they say when you don't have to necessarily read something, so like you don't have to say go by the theory, but sometimes practicalize it, go on the practical, so that you really understand better.
So you see, so then that's why they made education compulsory for the people, because if you're able, if you are educated and then you know a lot of things you're supposed to do, at least getting a job will not be difficult for you. They cannot say, okay, you see all these things that they're saying you cannot do, like drinking and then getting drunk and in the public, begging, doing all these things. You realize you're not in the part of all these things because you're learned already. You know what to do and what not to do. You're exposed to so many things that you know, okay, this is right for me and this is not. You're able to choose what to do and what not to do. You're able to choose from your left and right. And then for you to know that it is compulsory for you to go to school, even the tertiary institutions, it's free as well. But though then there are some stages, yeah. So then let's say for instance, maybe when you get to a particular level, then you can now continue paying. Maybe you can just pay a little or nothing.
I think the government has done justice to education there.
Some people can even live on by maybe when it gets to that stage.
You can even live because you've gotten a certain knowledge of everything that you need to know. You can go.
So it's interesting to know that
it's better than not knowing anything at all.
True. So education is key no matter what. I always say this. When you feel you want to learn anything, you can learn in school because you can meet other people that are experienced already.
It's true.
Maybe not even your teachers. It could be that maybe someone came from a different school. Maybe can tell you this thing doesn't happen in my school and then it's happening here. I'm learning something new. Or maybe I can't calculate this theory, or there's something that you can't just do. But there's someone that will definitely put you through. You can't just learn all these things at home. You can't tell me that your parents learned everything in school, like they learned different courses, different subjects, like everything, and they just come and teach you.
That's the reason for excursions in school now.
That's the reason for it, because you just go and then you learn a lot of things.
You see things
yourself, you touch them yourself, like going to museums and all of that.
Yeah.
So you can't just say education, like you can't just say because I don't have money to pay. People in Trinidad actually offer that, like it's at the bed of their roses. I mean, bed of roses, a bed of roses for them. So then education is something that you cannot joke with.
You can't even escape it.
So you can't even escape it. For you to realize that you're educated is something, it makes you stand out. Because you can speak to people. Although it's not everybody that has gone to school, or rather that is educated that can actually speak well.
That speak well, yeah, it's true.
But then the ability for you to
speaking well is more of like, I think it's a gift to some people.
Okay.
You can only try, but not as really as those that are really gifted in talking.
Actually true though. So education is key to the people in Trinidad. So other countries should actually pick that, or not only pick that, but they should learn to know that they need to teach other people, if not making it free or compulsory, but at least
there should be a reduction.
There are private universities that people will want to go to, and they'll just limit people that can just pay a particular amount.
Private institutions these days, unless you are really like you are well to do,
because
their tuition fee is just
something else. So they will tell you, okay, maybe if you're a pastor's daughter or a pastor's son, then you have a discount for you. Then the rest. So does that mean because my dad is not a pastor, so I cannot go to a private university? Because sometimes the things that we learn in all these institutions is actually what we use as life goes by.
What I'm even saying is some of these conditions are not really encouraging. Like it's not really encouraging education in a particular society, because when you set limits, conditions for things, you are trying to discourage some people that probably would have interest, which is not supposed to. Education is supposed to be made free for every child. If not free, but at least there should be a manageable amount of money, or probably a considerate amount of money that should be levied on educational sector, or probably for those that intend to put their words to school.
This education will help you to improve in a lot of things.
Education is an eye opener. Like it opens your eyes to reality, it opens your eyes to civilization, it opens your eyes to so many things that you are not really aware of, and like it's just everything for me, education. I think.
There are exciting sites as well to visit in Trinidad and Tobago. Apart from their facts, apart from going to the sea and all of that, we have the Maracas Bay, Trinidad. So the fringed by coconut palms, Maracas Bay is one of the Trinidad's most famous beaches. From port to Spain, the scenic 40-minute drive through mountainous rainforest provides breathtaking views of lush peninsulas jutting into the sea. So like, it's interesting to know, just from the description alone, you know that it's actually a beautiful place for you to go to, in as much as it's like forest, but still it is something that
is a nice place that
is
you
a
need
nice
to
place
see.
for you to see, for
If
you
not for
to
it, just see how it looks like.
But I think it's still safe to some extent.
It's like, a matter of you think it's safe.
It's safe to some extent because you never can tell what is going to happen in the forest where you are. They said it's one of the most famous places where you can find yourself. The beach itself, that
and
is
it's very
most
close
beautiful.
to the city. It's close to Trinidad.
Yeah, they said it's the most beautiful beaches close to the city.
Imagine.
So just imagine, like, most beautiful. They said the deep blue bay labs. It's like, it's the color alone. Like,
and
do you know what it means?
It's usually been crowded though. It's crowded with a lot of people. It's not like an Englishman's bay that is just limited to some people, some persons. Like, it's not everybody that usually goes there. But you see that Maracas, what do you call it?
Maracas.
Maracas.
So what did I call it? Okay.
Maracas. Maracas is a place that is usually being visited by so many visitors.
Yeah.
They need to be and all of that because of the beauty. That I think that Maracas is situated in Trinidad. And this one is in Tobago.
Yeah.
It's a place that you can even choose to go on a picnic for, since it's a reserved area, not like unlike the Maracas. You can just go with some specific or amount of number of people. Then you go there, you just enjoy yourself. And you just for the sight of it, just go there and enjoy yourself. For you to just have fun, for you to go with people, like you just sit down around it and then just talk about anything you want to talk about. And so they said it's actually a welcomed place for you to visit. Actually a place for you to sit, relax, and have all sorts of things that you want to have. You can just sit down there with your family, friends, and everybody you just want to sit down there with and talk about anything. Picnic with people, when you sit down with people, is more like there's this love that comes with it. There's this understanding that comes with it. So then when you're thinking about visiting Trinidad, you're asking yourself, where am I going to visit, or what beaches am I going to? You have a lot of places to pick from. You will run out of 20, like more than 20 something beaches in Trinidad and Tobago. So then you still have places to visit in Trinidad. You still have things to do in Trinidad. So Tony, I think it is time for us to just say goodbye. Is it time already? Yes, we are. We've been talking. You don't even know that there's no time. I was even thinking of saying something, but let's close. Yeah, okay, what do you want to say? No, say it. Let's leave it for the next show. And see your talk. I said I'll say it. Okay. Thank you, Tony, for doing this with me. It was actually fun talking about Trinidad and Tobago. It was fun. Like today, you were like, it was actually very interesting. And I didn't really want to go there. Oh, but because of the beaches and do you get? So you still want to find yourself there? I think because of the carnival, even for anything, because of that carnival. You like Patricia? I'm a party freak. Okay. Thank you, viewers, for staying with us and having fun with us talking about Trinidad and Tobago. As we said, we always bring to you beautiful countries that we talk about. In case if you want to visit, you don't need to bother yourself. Just come watch our shows and you have everything you want. Thank you for staying with us. Bye-bye.